We're live on both Instagram and Periscope. So, to everybody out there, hello, hola, konnichiwa, salam, ciao, namaste. Peace to all. This is the Pink Elephant in the Room conversation, and what we will be discussing for today is simply the manipulation of your senses. How exactly your six senses, not your five senses that you've been told, but your six, are manipulated on a daily basis. And I will be going into more detail on each sense later on this week for Soulology. So for you guys who desire to know more about that, go on YouTube, subscribe, like if it resonates with you, and you can watch the detailed versions of the manipulation of each sense in a sense. But I'm gonna go into a broader sense, and here we go with simply just how this works. We had talked earlier a few weeks back about how there is a system in play, not like a computer, not something physical. I'm sorry, something similar to a computer, but not physical in a sense of what you know in this world. And we had gone into a little portion of how that system works, but now I'm going to give you a little more detail of how it works in a sense on an everyday basis of affecting you with certain thoughts, ideologies, and what you feel and everything, from what you hear, from what you taste, to what you see, to what you hear, to what you touch. And of course, one of the biggest ones that is not really said in a sense is your sixth sense, your sense of knowing. Knowing who you are and so on and so forth is vitally important to the entire concoction, the recipe of what makes this what it is. And we'll go over them simply like this. The first one we'll go over is hearing. Why is hearing so important in a sense? Because of the vibrations that bounce off of everything you hear. Every sound that is put into frequency, from an air vent to the humming of a bird to the flapping wings to the rustling of the grass to the certain frequency sounds that buzz from the sounds of honking cars or driving cars. Everything has a vibration and everything has a frequency, and we can use sounds to make those frequencies allow you to feel good about something. It could be a product, it could be something you're watching on TV that's making you laugh, it could be something that makes you sad on TV. We can manipulate your mind in a sense to that extent that what you hear can make you feel a certain way. It could be music you listen to. I know this, for example, and this is why I'm more careful of what I listen to in a sense. But when you and I'll go into more detail a little later, but when you are listening to certain things, they can upset you. For instance, I remember doing an experiment on a song that goes, and I know, I know, I know, I know, ain't no sunshine when she's gone. That song, good song and everything. But the thing is, due to the vibration of what it has, it can make you feel sad. It can make you feel depressed. Because I caught myself when I was listening to this song and I was sitting there and I felt sad for some reason, but I had no reason to be sad. There are certain songs that you listen to that are more rock, more of the beat itself, like hip hop or something, the sound can make you maybe angrier or it can make you feel good. It all depends on the sound. And you have to be careful of this because of the manipulation of it can affect your emotions. That is the sound. The next one is seeing. Seeing is manipulated very easily with colors. Colors, such as the ones you see in the back, can play a key role on how you feel and what your thought process is. For example, this was brought up to me, and this is partially true in a sense when you put it together. These colors can have more of an effect on your chakra. Hold on just a sec. Just having a little iffy problem with Instagram. Hold on just a sec, you guys. No worries. We'll keep going one way or another. For you guys out there who will look at this later, you can just instantly skip this. It'll probably be about like literally a minute to 2 minutes, probably tops. Um, Due to one of the things not working, which is no worries. But just skip this part, no worries at all, and then we can keep going from there. Um, Hold on just a sec though. For now, what I'll do is I'll go a little more detail for the hearing before we go into that. Um, you can how like I said, you can manipulate someone through certain sounds. Certain sounds can confuse people even with wording, which can confuse you into certain thought process of what you hear that can function you in a certain way of feeling a little iffy about something or whatnot, that might make you think a certain way, do things in a certain way, and so on and so forth due to what you hear. When you hear things, for example, that terrify you, they can sometimes make you do unreasonable things that you don't logically always think of due to being in such a deep fear process of what's going on around you. And just making sure you guys, those are working. Hold on just a sec, you guys. There we go. Now, as I was saying, for um your sense of sight, colors have an effect on you. And for the people on Instagram, I had to redo this because it froze. So I don't know if it froze on your end or whatnot. I do know it did, so had to restart everything. But no worries. Um, so, that being said, when you see certain things, certain colors can affect what you think in your mind process. For example, the color red. These also have to do with the chakra centers. When you see red, it has to do with your pleasures. This is why you see so many commercials, especially in the fast food industry, that have the color red in them. They will use that color in a sense to they will use that color in a sense to allow you to be pleasured by certain things. When you see those restaurants, you have only pleasure to feel when you see them. When you see certain colors like green in certain things, it can, from the throat chakra, leave you speechless. These colors can also be blended into two areas that could be different. They could be completely different colors, but mixing them together could create that color in a sense. You have different ones that will make you feel more in your gut, more in your stomach, such as your stomach area region, where your chakra lays, where one of your chakras lay. Sorry if I can't think of the name right now, but right here where your chakra is. I know not everyone can see it, but on your stomach area, it could be an area of sensory where you feel a certain sense of instinct or hunger in a sense to certain things. This is also something that is used with different colors. This is why, for instance, when you don't see purple really, you don't see too many people who use white all the time in certain commercials, or a bright white or indigo especially. Blue is used but not all the time, and these are all different colors that can manipulate the sight of what you feel. It can be from things such as when you watch the football, or when you watch the NFL um, World Cup, I believe it is. No, the World Cup is the football, the FIFA World Cup. But for the NFL, when you have that as well for the commercials, for those games, they can manipulate you with what is on it. And these are things that aren't just surprising, they've been proven over and over how you could be manipulated by those things one way or another. So, we went over hearing, we went over sight. Let's go over tasting. Tasting is manipulated by the certain things you, of course, are eating. You taste, you enjoy the flavor, the feel of something in your mouth, whatever it is in a sense. Different foods, different flavors, different drinks, different fruits, different vegetables. Now, here's a question for you that you may not think about. Some do, some don't, and most will say, and I've heard this far too often, that I just like meat, or I like the taste of meat. Now, my thought to this would be simple, that it's not the meat itself that a person likes, they like the seasoning on the meat. And because of that feeling of the seasoning and whatnot, and we will talk about the next sense that leads up to this, actually, in a sense, leads up to every one of them. But the sense of the taste makes you feel as though that's the only thing there could be. But you can create other foods, especially vegan or vegetarian or whatnot, that can have the same taste if perfected one way or another. It's just a constant stroll of tasting. You're being manipulated by believing that something tastes good and not looking at what will keep you, your body, pretty much alive in a sense. What will keep you maintained, your body maintained in a sense. So, when you are tasting certain things, you believe that these things are good, but you don't realize at times that it might not be good for you to eat that constantly and consistently. We've been known to eat food even after we're full and constantly eat it because we just like the taste of it. So, you manipulate yourself and it can possibly harm your body in the process. The next one that would be up to add on to this is actually your sixth sense, your sense of knowing. Your sense of knowing is actually manipulated through other senses. It's almost like a central center. All the other senses can be manipulated in certain areas to make you feel that there is no way you can change certain things because your sense of knowing. If something is presented to you to persuade you to feel a certain way and you've heard it constantly over and over, your sense of knowing will tell you that you know this must be true. So you will take what you taste in your mouth and believe that there is nothing else better than this that you know. You will take what you hear and believe there is nothing else you know that could be better than this sound. You will take what you see and say there's nothing else you could see that you know that would be this great in a sense. and it manipulates your mind in knowing and feeling that you know what is going on, and we feel that we know what is right, and we feel like we know what is wrong, and yet none of those things matter and none of those things exist. They exist in our experience as of now because we choose for it to exist. We choose for those things to appear in our world and be believed. So when people feel that they know these things, they think that because she said it, he said it, this person said it, this important person said it, that important person said it, it must be true. We don't do our own research to see if that is true or not, if the statement or if anything that a person says is flawed or if it works. And that is something you have to keep in mind, growing your sense of knowing and researching yourself. It starts within self. You can't just believe everything that everyone says, including myself. I say to people, research is key to growing self, and to know thyself is to know the gods within who you really are, your sense of knowing. So we've gone over our sense of hearing, we've gone over our sense of seeing, we've gone over our sense of tasting, we've gone over the sense of knowing. So we have literally two more. And we'll go over the manipulation of the sense of smelling. The sense of smelling can easily be controlled in a sense of something that was done with a scientist that can happen with you in the same way. What the scientist did was with a dog, and I forgot his name. I do apologize to the people out there. But what he did was simply he would have some bowls and whatnot and ring a bell. And this leads also to the hearing, but also due to the smell of a food. Or better yet, I believe, yeah, it was just the hearing. Due to the hearing of what they saw. And to Rinzi, just hello out there. For the people out there again who are coming on right now, we are talking about the manipulation of your sixth sense. We're on right now the manipulation of smell through the nose. So, what the scientist would do is he'd ring a bell and the dogs would come. When the dogs smelled the food, they would salivate. Now, what does this have to do with anything? If something is repeated with you with a sense of smell, let's just go with food for example. If it's repeated and it's something you enjoy in a sense, or if it's repeated in a sense and you just salivate when you see it, it's a manipulation of smell. Your smell can be manipulated in many ways. Back in the day in different movies, they used smell to make people believe something was real. And this can sometimes get people in a sense of believing that, oh, I have to have that and whatnot. That type of smell of maybe cinnamon rolls, or perhaps a hefty beef dog, or perhaps some kale. Anyways, what I mean simply is that you can be manipulated by the sense of smell. Sometimes it can be as much as where you smell smoke. Smoke can at times, and it's not a bad thing or anything, but it can sometimes manipulate us into believing there's a fire due to what we've seen around our environment that could make us believe that something is catching on fire, but someone could be cooking. And of course, some people can cook, some people cannot. But that can manipulate your sense of smell. There are certain smells due to the energy that is put into it can lead you into a certain room. If you are in a candy shop and you smell the sweetness, you can be lured in by the sweetness of something and enjoy it. When you have, for example, strangers, of course, I remember back in my day hearing plenty of this, but when you have strangers who are giving out candy to little children and whatnot, that can manipulate the sense of the child of feeling as though they smell the deliciousness of whatever candy they're giving that person. A person can be manipulated into buying something just due to the smell of it. If it smells good, like the smell of a new car, can make a person feel good. A smell of a new house, the smell of a candy bar, chocolate candy bar, or a fruity candy bar, or I mean a fruity bag of candy, can manipulate a person's sense of smell to believe that I want it, I want it now type feeling. And then our last one being our sense of touch. Your sense of touch works well with both your hearing, your sense of smell, especially. I'm sorry, your seeing and your sense of smell, more so than ever. And the reason why it does, and I'll give another example of what I was saying earlier about food, it can be manipulated by the sense of food because when you see certain things on TV, especially for fast food, you feel as though that's the exact way it's going to feel in your hands. And even when it doesn't, due to the other senses being manipulated, such as through your eyes and what you hear due to frequencies, the feel doesn't matter to you, and you go to different places, of course, different stops, fast food places to pretty much eat the food that's there at that establishment because of the feel of what you're touching, the texture and whatnot. Certain things vibrate again on a certain frequency, and those frequencies can have an effect on you one way or another. It all depends, though, on how you react to the frequency itself that can affect you truly. If you are not aware, if you're not being observant of these senses being triggered in some sense to manipulate you in anywhere, then you are not paying attention to certain things that could help you in the long run to understand yourself further and to see things for what they are, being in this world but not of this world. This is who you truly are. Understand the senses of self, and you will understand a bit more of your growth, a bit more of yourself, and who you truly are in this world. And just, we're going to be ending it here. But for you guys and girls out there, just know you are the gods, the goddesses, and creators within. So, to everybody out there, have a good morning, a great afternoon, and a fantastic evening. Namaste.